We all have those games that we keep meaning to pick back up again, but never do. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we're counting down our top 10 games that most people never finish. Before we begin, we publish new videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content. For this list, we're counting down the games that are still sitting on many a gamer's shelf, their campaign and story modes unfinished and likely to remain that way. Just a heads up, we're about to discuss some spoilers here, but if you really liked it, you would have played till the end, wouldn't ya? Number 10, The Elder Scrolls 3: Morrowind. Bethesda game studios have carved out a nice niche for themselves when it comes to crafting interesting, immersive game worlds that we could spend hours in without ever noticing. But they definitely had a learning curve to go through, and the third game in the Elder Scrolls series demonstrates how far they've come. For one thing, it's easier to get lost in the obtrusive leveling system and menus than the actual game world itself sometimes. And this created a barrier of entry for many players. And even if it didn't, this is a Bethesda RPG after all, and they weren't really big on fast traveling back then. So for some people, hiking across the Ashlands was just too much to ask for. Number 9, Bravely Default.
Seems the entire Shieldbearers force has come to see us off. I'd not expected them so soon.
Originally developed as a Final Fantasy spin-off, this JRPG became an original property midway through development and gained some hype as a throwback to classic JRPGs of yore. For the first half or so of the epic story, it's everything JRPG fans could hope for. But once you hit the midway point of the game, the honeymoon suddenly ends as you find much of your progress is undone, forcing you to repeat the same bosses and dungeons up to 5 times if you want the quote, good ending. There's too much of a good thing, and then there's this.
No! My performance has only just begun!
Number 8, Donkey Kong 64. There are games that have a few collectibles, even games that have tons of collectibles, but this is frickin' ridiculous. In addition to being a beloved classic by fan favorite studio Rare and a staple of 90s gaming, this game basically holds the Guinness World Record for most collectibles in a video game. Golden bananas, banana coins, and battle crowns are just a few of the collectibles that kept gamers from finally putting this one down. Even 17 years after the game's release, a speedrunner found a previously undiscovered item, a 977th banana coin. Just goes to show that a great game can keep players coming back for more, even if they never finish. Number 7, The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt.
The bracelet, pretty worn. Silver under the gilding, too big for a woman's wrist.
Set in the expansive fantasy world of the novel series of the same name, this epic RPG presents perhaps the most beautiful and immersive fantasy landscape that gamers have ever seen to date. With stunning art direction and a rich atmosphere, it's definitely pretty easy to lose hours exploring the environment and finding every monster, every mystery, and every comely lass in need of slaying, solving, or seducing, in precisely that order. Despite an epic storyline that sees hero and professional monster hunter Geralt tracking down his former apprentice Ciri, many players leave the beaten path to do some side quests or just play some Gwent and never end up finishing.
Nah, I want this out of my hair.
Number 6, Grand Theft Auto 4.
I do not ask twice for a favor.
I understand. I will get it to it.
The 4th installment in Rockstar Games' controversial franchise was a massive step forward for the series, dropping players into a sprawling metropolis teeming with activities of legal and not-so-legal varieties. But strangely enough, for a franchise built on crime, mayhem, and action, this installment had players spending almost as much time taking their loudmouth cousin bowling as they were getting into shootouts and car chases. And for many players, the tedium of these side activities made the game a bit too much of a chore. Add in the very lengthy runtime, and many players just put this title down midway through the story, leaving poor Roman to go bowling by himself. Although depending on how you play it, it's actually best that you don't get to the ending for him.
Nico, it's your cousin. Let's go bowling.
Roman, I cannot bowl with you. I'm doing other things now.
Number 5, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Some games can turn players off with some dull mechanics or characters, an excessive amount of backtracking, or just a general failure to hold on to attention. This updated version of the 3DS exclusive action RPG remains incomplete for many players simply because nobody has time for that. Hours upon hours of missions and side quests gives the game a gargantuan runtime, And as fun and involving as the combat and exploration is, you can only hunt so many giant monsters before your fingers fall off. If we're ever trapped on a desert island with a 3DS that never runs out of batteries, this is what we're gonna pick though. Number 4, Driver. As we talked about previously, there's all kinds of reasons to put down a game. But not being able to move beyond the starting area is thankfully something that most players don't encounter all that much. So, before allowing you to cruise the streets of LA, San Francisco, Miami, and New York, you'll find yourself in a dingy parking garage with a list of moves to pull off and very little indication of how you even do them. And to make matters worse, you have a paltry 60 seconds to figure it all out. For many players, they never finished this game because they basically never started. Number 3, No Man's Sky. Oh, what a torrid tale can be woven out of this game's troubled story. First revealed at the VGX Awards in 2013, No Man's Sky promised players a limitless universe of exploration and resource gathering, with procedurally generated planets and environments to discover forever. For months and then years, the hype train picked up steam, but upon release, players were disappointed with the game's samey environments and somewhat shallow gameplay. Crushed by this letdown, very few players managed to reach the game's end goal at the center of the universe. And those that did reported that it really wasn't worth the trouble. Yes, the game has received some very good updates recently, but for many players, all that universe remains uncharted. Number 2, Just Cause 3. An open game world is only as good as your means of traversing it. The third installment in this mayhem-laden franchise makes moving around and causing havoc in this game so fun that you'll find yourself wanting to do nothing else. With vehicles of all sorts as well as zip lines, parachutes, a wingsuit, and even a full-on jetpack to keep players zipping through the air, there's actually very little reason to bother with the story missions once you've unlocked everything. A good story's nice, but who has time for that when there's so much to blow up? Certainly not us, and certainly not most players. Number 1, Minecraft. Alright, slow down, because I know what you're about to say. Minecraft has an ending? No, it doesn't. Well, yes, actually it does. We know it sounds crazy, but the trend-setting sandbox hit actually does have an end goal for players, and it's a pretty classic one, dragon slaying. Once you've built up a sturdy diamond arsenal and a bevy of potions, it's time for you to start hunting down Endermen and searching for the nearest stronghold. Once you find it, you're just an end portal away from reaching the final location and the massive Ender Dragon within. You slay it, the credits roll, and then you've essentially beaten Minecraft. Or you can do what pretty much everyone else did and do literally anything else. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo and subscribe for new videos every day.